Paul and Mason will be leading today's presentation, but before I hand it over to them, I'd like to quickly cover a few housekeeping items. So again, you should see a poll on your screen, so feel free to participate in that as you settle in. A recording of today's session will be sent directly to your inbox after the webinar. And one more thing, all attendees are muted by default. So if you have any questions or comments, please put those down in the Q&A located at the bottom of your screen, and Mason will be monitoring that throughout. And with that, I will kick it over to Paul.
Thanks, Amanda. Hopefully everybody can hear me and see my screen. As Amanda said, yeah, my name is Paul. I'm a developer here at RCS. I lead the development team and really the creation of this new product that we're super excited about called DataStream. There's a lot of cool stuff involved with it, really a lot of pretty innovative, unique things that we've built from the ground up, really to deliver a reporting platform and an API for everybody out there for Counterpoint. It fills in a lot of the gaps with the existing Counterpoint offerings, and we're pretty proud of it. And it's in active development, so it's something we're really interested in. So kind of the format of today, it's really not too much to see. So what I'm going to do is I just have a quick slide here, and then I'm just going to go right into a live demo and show you the different data stream screens and what you can do with the tool. And then at the end, we'll just finish by answering some questions that come in. Okay, so just really one slide here. So at a super high level, what is DataStream? So essentially, it is a self-service reporting and analytics tool built specifically for NCR Counterpoint. And really the highlight of it is accessible completely outside of Counterpoint via a web browser. So anywhere that you have internet, whether it's cell service, Wi-Fi, wired, as long as you're on a device that can get to a web browser, you can access your Counterpoint data. So, Android, tablet, laptop computer, PC computer, something up in your back room to of your store to look at reports, anything that can connect to the internet, you can see your Counterpoint data. And I kind of stress that, one, for accessibility, and two, it is mainly, it's not linked to NCR Counterpoint licenses. So if you're using Counterpoint proper, you have that RDP connection, or you have something on your computer, and every time you log in, it uses an NCR license and takes up like a quote unquote seat. So this does not use the Counterpoint licensing functionality. And another thing that is included with the DataStream product is we have the analytics dashboard, which I will show you, but you also get included with it access to really the framework of how we built the DataStream tool, and that is our RCS API. And this is just a link to something called Swagger. I'll go into these boring technical details later, but that's also included in the product. And then finally on this slide, I just want to say this product is currently in beta. The beta is currently closed for new clients, but we do have clients using the beta right now and providing feedback. They're using the tool and it's working. The beta period is, I believe, 2 months. And then we'll collect that feedback and, continue to improve the product. And then, it will be ready for general release. All right, that's it for slides. I'm gonna go right into the demo here. And yeah, I think you can see my screen. So here I am. I'm in a web browser, and this is Counterpoint. So I can't stress this enough. Up here, it's just an internet site. Anywhere you can get to the internet, you can access this tool. And this is actually our production login screen, so our live login screen. So you'll notice that you can have an independent email and password to log in. Or we also support single sign-on currently right now with Microsoft. So if you have a Microsoft account, you can just link the two, just press single sign-on with Microsoft, and you're good to go. But once you log in, this is what you see. So I'll just refresh this page again. So I log in, and what has happened here is it has loaded my dashboard. And what this has done is it has gone out to Counterpoint in real time and run my most current unposted sales data. So this is Counterpoint data, and I'll refresh it again. Again, queries Counterpoint, real-time data, from your Counterpoint system. So this main screen called the dashboard, it's what I like to call what you see is what you get. So you really just have static widgets here of, you can quickly see how your store is performing. You have some widgets up the top here, like, total sales, average units per transaction, your total ticket count for the day, profit margin, and returns. But we also have a few other dashboards here. So as we scroll down, we have some graphical widgets here. One is sales by hour. So you can see, each hour every day how your store is performing. And any of these tools you can hover over and kind of see the specific details. So I can see, my exact numbers if I hover over. Again, same thing with here. You can hover over, but this top 10 sales by store. This is our classic demo golf environment. But if you have 10 stores, 15 stores, 30 stores, they would all show up here and they would be automatically color coded. And it gives you a breakdown of kind of store by store sales comparisons. Drilling down further here, some more high-level graphs. We have our top 10 sales by item. This gives you a super quick view of, how well, your top sales are doing. Say you're running a sale on golf items and you want to see what are my top 10 this weekend. It will break down your descriptions. It shows you total sales, quantity sold, and the percentage of total sales. And as I hover over these, it really highlights the exact metric that you're looking at. This is a similar view, but again, higher level. This is by category. So, this is a golf pro shop. So my golf items are doing really well. My other ones, not so well, which is to be expected. But again, consistency. So I can see total sales, my quantity sold, and my percent of sales. And then two more here on the dashboard. I have my top, it's the same data set. They're just laid out in a different way. So I have my top 10 sales by category. And this is pretty neat because it gives what I call this is like a traffic light. So, say you are running that sale and you want to see percentage of total sales, your top performers are going to be green, mid performers will be yellow, and your poor performers are going to be red. So really, if you pull out that tablet or you're at an actual stoplight in your car, although I don't recommend looking at your phone in the car, but you just want to pull this up, you can very quickly see how you're performing. And again, right now, this is live data, unposted data, real-time stuff. And then the last one is, again, kind of the inverse of this. It's the top 10 sales by item. So this just, again, is similar to this, but just laid out in a different way. So that is the main page. That's the dashboard. A couple other aspects I want to point out on this page. So any one of these charts across all of the data stream analytics platform, you're going to see a hamburger button on the top right. So I can hover over this hamburger button and I can instantly export to CSV. So sales by hour is great, but hey, I have my own Excel with my own pivot charts that I've been using for years. I just want a data dump of the data and just push it right into Excel. You can just instantly download a CSV. You won't be able to see it because of how my screen is sharing, but it just pops up like a save box. You can put it in your desktop, in your downloads, name it, whatever you want. You can also instantly export images. So, say you're building that report for the boss, or you need to put something really quickly in an email or a slideshow or something for a presentation, you can just very quickly grab a screenshot of the chart with the current data and do whatever you want with it. And I touched on the refresh. So every time I press this, it does refresh. It goes back into Counterpoint. But another feature here is you'll notice this toggle up at the top. I have what's called live and historical. By default, it defaults to live. So again, your unposted tickets. So if you post every day, it would be your daily tickets. If you post every week, it would be your weekly tickets. But you can also go to historical here. So if I press this historical tab, I get again, like nice, bright, simple, easy colors. I get a filters button here. I can press filters and I get a slide out from the right-hand side. And I have various filter options. So I can look at a year's worth of data. And I don't think you'll be able to see these pop outs, but I can select a store. So this goes into Counterpoint and we'll see my list of stores. So you can do all stores or you can select a single store. And then a date range, and then you can update your dashboard. You can also do a monthly comparison where you can choose a year. I believe by default, we cache 5 years worth of data. Obviously that's subject to change. Based on feedback, we can certainly change that, but right now it's 5 years. Again, you can select your store. And then you can also do a day comparison. So you can look at any month of the year, select the month, select the year, select the store. And then once you press update dashboard, you'll get additional filters here where you can further drill down into those days and date ranges. And I did touch on the beta beforehand, so we're really interested in feedback in this product and really making it as good as we possibly can. Some of the really nice feedback that we've had so far is we've had requests to kind of make this store filter that you see here a little more dynamic. So not only, can you load the dashboard, but sometimes folks don't want to see all stores. They don't want to just see one store. They maybe want to see 3 or 4 stores or 2 stores. So it is on our short roadmap to kind of expand these filters out a little bit. And again, that's based off the valuable beta feedback that we've had. And then finally with the dashboard, it does scale dynamically. I don't know if you'll see this on my screen, but this is all pretty reactive. So it does look really good on different devices. I will say cell phones does get a little smaller, but we've tested it on all devices, works really well on landscape mode on cell phones. But tablets, it looks great. And if you need a little extra real estate, you can just press this button here and you can just see your dashboard. So I'd see using this, maybe on like a screen in the background if you put it up on a TV or something. So that's the main page, what we call the dashboard. So that's kind of one part of the visual aspect of data stream. There's also kind of more complex and interesting things that you can do. So over on the left-hand side, we have this analytics tab. So if I drill down to analytics, I have 2 options here. I have reports and I have charts. I'm going to touch on these one at a time. I'm going to start with reports. So with reports, I can drill down and I have options. I can either view my existing reports or I can create new reports. So right now, I'm just going to start with view. And I logged out for inactivity. So let me log back in here. I'm in kind of an administrator mode. So if you, as a user of this, you wouldn't see that. I'm just kind of in a background environment, in a demo environment. So if I drill into reports and I go to view, what I have here is a company-wide list of save reports that I've created ahead of time. So what you do when you create a report is you give it a name and you give it a description. This is optional but very useful because you can have as many of these as you want. So it's kind of really important to remember what they are. And then you have an option for each report to manage. You can also, if you have a bunch of them, you can do a real-time keyword search on any field and pull up a report. So if you know something off the top of your head, you just type it in and you'll find it quickly. But right now I'm going to pull up my customer report. Maybe say I'm integrating with something like Klaviyo or MailChimp, and I need to export a CSV of customers for an upcoming marketing campaign. So I want my customer list brief. So I'm going to go over here and press manage. And when I do, this comes up with a lot of configuration options. There's 2 tabs here. I'll go through them in detail. The first tab it's called configuration. So again, you give it a name and you give it a description, and you have export options. So it defaults to CSV. Again, I don't think you folks can see the pop-ups, but you also can choose Excel if you want. So CSV and Excel are the options. And then you have a drop down here where once you click it, you can see every table or view that's available in the Counterpoint database. And you have their friendly name, what you would see if you're in the customer screen in Counterpoint. And you also have the backend name, which is like a database language, the SQL language. So if you're more technical and you're familiar with the structure of Counterpoint, or you're integrating with or working with somebody who is, it might be useful to see the backend field names. So this report, I'm just going to choose customers. And then once you select a specific table, you have a list of columns. Again, all of the columns available in the table. Really simple. If it's blue, it's going to be in your report. If it's not, it won't. So you can go through here and click or unclick any column that you want. This one's pretty basic. Again, I have address information, city, country, balance information, things like that. And then over here on the right-hand side, depending on the table, you can filter on any column that is available. So you would just take this drop down and say, if I want to filter on my customer balance, say it's like a accounts receivable dunning report or something like that. I can say, all right, I have this balance filter. I'm just going to add one here, and I want to say my filter is greater than 0. And that would apply the filter on the back end when you run the report. So that's all fine and good. Yeah, I set up my report, but how do I look at my data? So you would just go up here to this report tab right next to configuration. You press report. You get a little pop-up here that says building report. And this hits Counterpoint, pulls data in real time. You can see all of the columns and the data in your database. It's page, so you can obviously go to the next page if you want. But the really cool part about this page is I can keyword search in real time on any column. So say I want to run my Paul report, why wouldn't I want to run a Paul report? Because my name is Paul, but I can keyword search. And when I did that, it went through all of these columns and found matches on what I found. So again, if you're on that tablet or on the go and you want to really very quickly try to target data and look at a very specific data point, you can do that. And then also you have this blue button here. Again, you won't be able to see the pop-up, but once I press it, it's going to have that classic save file dialog, and in your desktop or downloads, you just give it whatever name you want. Downloads, very quickly. You just double click on it, and then it's open in Excel, it's open in Google Sheets, it's open in whatever tool you use to look at spreadsheets. The data is instantly available. And then create, so back over here on the left, so create it's just the same thing, but you can just create one from scratch. It just skips the screen. You can go right in and create a brand new report. Okay, so the last part of analytics is what we call charts. And the way that I like to think about charts is charts are an extension of reports. So charts basically are visualizations or images that you can build based off of existing reports. So if I drill down into my chart section, again, you'll see very consistent view, create, easy to make sense hierarchy here. So I'm going to go into my charts. I'm going to press view. Similar list. So I have my name, and then I have my description, and I have my ability to manage a chart. And I've created these ahead of time. What I want to look at here is I want to look at my inventory availability. And I know, because I put in a description, that this is a visualization of my current item quantities. So I'm going to go in here and manage. And once I do, similar screen to the last one, but this is kind of cool. This is like similar to in Excel where you do like VLOOKUPs and pivot tables where you can organize data. This allows you to do that to a certain extent. So you can give it a name and a description. And as I said before, charts are an extension of reports. So I want to connect this to my current quantity on hand report. And I have different visualization types here. This one's set up to be a donut, but you can also do a bar chart or like a column chart. I'm sure that we'll add more visualizations in the future, but kind of this is what we have so far. And then I can select an objective. So depending on your report, you can do like a top X records, which is kind of handy for inventory availability. If it's a sales report, you might want to say, hey, this is by month or by year. But for right now, I'm just going to do top N. And down here on chart configuration, I can, if I select top N, I can say, what's my N? So I want to see my top 10. I could do a top 1. I could do a top 500, whatever you want to do. So, but right now I'm just going to stick with top 10. For display, right now, again, it depends on the chart and the report that you're doing, but typically you could do a count or a sum. So I think of it like you count inventory and you sum dollars. So, this is an inventory report, so I'm going to count it. And then you can choose which column to display. And in this case, because it's my current quantity on hand, I want to display from my IAM inventory table. I want to display my quantity available. And then group by, that's kind of a database or a SQL term, but I guess that's like pivots in Excel. You can choose like how to organize your data. And I just want to see my top item performers. So I want to group by item number. So it's going to break down my top 10 item numbers. So you could do, if you just wanted to see categories, you could build it that way. If you just would base it on description, really any column that's in the database is available to group by here. And then finally, order by, that's self-explanatory, ascending, descending. So that's either A to Z or Z to A. So once I have all of this built out, it's really just as simple as pressing preview chart here. And that instantly, based on my report that I set up and my configuration here, it on the fly builds out a graphical report. Again, you can hover over and see the details. But again, really cool if you want to, you're building a report for the boss, or you have a meeting coming up and somebody says, I want this for my slide. Can you just really quickly build me a report? Just press this button, and you can even go over here and press the hamburger, and you can download an image, or if you just want the raw data, you can download the raw data into a CSV and dump it into your Excel file. All right. Well, that's kind of the penny tour of the reporting aspect of DataStream. Just to recap again, I had my dashboard, which pulls in data from Counterpoint, and I have my analytics section, which includes reports and charts. Before I move on to the second aspect of it, which is what we call like the self-service API, I just want to touch on a few usability things. So out of the gate, it does support dark mode. So you can just press this button and you will go into dark mode. So, if you're like me and have dark mode of everything and look at computers all day, this is kind of a really cool feature. And this saves to your user profile, so it remembers if you're in dark mode or not. And that's just up here. I'm logged in as myself, and I have different user options, and one of them is the theme. And just because I love to talk about it, because we put this in for fun, you can change the color scheme. So if the blue style isn't for you, you can change different styles. Right now, I think we have 4 of them, but we can add more. I know, colors are important to some folks when looking at charts and graphs. So again, almost like a little Easter egg thing, but I think it's pretty cool. Okay. All right. So I think I have one more section of this to talk about, and then we can go on to some questions. And this is kind of the I always say this for last, but it's the technical and probably the boring part of this. So if you're not a tech person, um, please bear with me. But also also included with this, and really the most important part about this is this was built on created on a built from the ground up Counterpoint API developed by RCS. So this sits on a framework that we created from scratch that has no connection or dependencies to the NCR Counterpoint API. It uses our own API, which we have, complete control over of building new endpoints and control over the roadmap and control of how we can pull data from Counterpoint. And I mention that because it is built on an open API framework, and along with the data stream, once you sign up for data stream, you also get access to that. And what we're looking at here is what's called a Swagger page. And Swagger is kind of the de facto standard API documentation. So if you give this to a tinkerer or a developer who wants to integrate your system, and they say, hey, yeah, you have this POS, but do you have an API? I don't want to work with your vendor. I want the API to get the data. If you give them this link, they will know what to do with it. So it's really a developer's best friend. And it's connected, so once we deliver it, we would, give you this URL, the URL to the API, and then we would also give you credentials in the form of a API key and a secret, also known as like a username and password. And when we do that, this just gives you full access to all of these features and functionality. And to that point, so because this is Swagger, this is what I like to call like a living, breathing document. And this API is, and it even actually says it right here. We're under active development with this. So once you get the DataStream product and you have access to this Swagger, as we release new features and functionality and endpoints, they're just going to appear here and you will have access to them, and that's obviously based on our development roadmap. But it's not like you need to call support and turn on a feature or function or request access. As we develop these different endpoints, you will just get them and be able to use them. So as of today, what you can do with a backend API, we have access to customers. So we can add new customer records, we can update customer records, and you can get a list of customer records. And speaking of customers, this is also how our Loyalty Hub product is also built on the same API and utilizes this endpoint. Inventory is a big one, important for folks. So you can get inventory, you can get item metadata. Right now, in terms of back office functionality, we can get and post inventory adjustments. And I will say that the back office functions, we are expanding. So in the future, probably expect to see things like purchase requests, purchase orders, transfers, to really fill in the gaps that are missing with the stock Counterpoint API. And then scrolling down here, you can also create tickets and quotes, and then you can get a list of tickets as well. So if you have your own, say, like Domo integration or Microsoft BI integration, or Tableau or whatever platform it is, and you say you don't want to use, our analytics tool is cool, but you have more dashboards that you want to use, you can just use our get tickets endpoint and it will give you the raw, it's something called JSON, basically just the raw data. And I just want to drill into, I'm kind of nearing the end here, but I just want to drill quickly into one of these endpoints. They're all like this, but really, unlike the NCR API, we built this with simplicity in mind. And I say that because throughout all of these endpoints, you'll see that they're in in English. And kind of a firm believer that when you build APIs and you're integrating with different platforms, you can't expect somebody who doesn't know anything about Counterpoint or your platform to know about it. Really, that's not the goal of APIs. It's really to make it as simple as possible to integrate things, and that's our number one goal with all of these. So if I drill down to say inventory here, you'll see this is just all in English. And if you're ever familiar with the Counterpoint API, it just returns all of the backend field names, and it can be very, very confusing for somebody to integrate it with because they don't know Counterpoint at all. And then the same thing, actually the cool one, the same thing is with items. And unlike the Counterpoint API, we do support grids, so you can optionally return grids and you can optionally return barcodes. And again, everything is just in plain English, very easy to understand, very organized and kind of set up in a way that's easy to use. All right. Well, I guess that's all I had for the main content here. Let me click over to some Q&A to see what we have. Any questions came in?
We've got quite a few came in here, and we've got I think a few of them have been answered. I just want to confirm. So Michael asked, are you able to apply filters and slicers such as date ranges, location filters, category filters, etc.?
Yes.
We believe you showed that, so I just want to, Michael, let us know if you have any further questions around that, but I'll mark that as answered for now. And your next question, Michael, was around whether it integrates with TPM so that sell-through and other metrics could be calculated and displayed.
It does not integrate with TPM, but that is a great question that has come up before. But no, this is solely Counterpoint data. I mean, I suppose you could pull ticket history and look at filter on barcode type to get sold barcodes, but that would be similar to reports that you would see in TPM anyway. But this strictly connects to the Counterpoint database and only the Counterpoint database.
And it's not out of the realm of possibility that would be on the roadmap at some point. So if you are interested in that, we can certainly talk about it. Marsha asked, you said unposted, can you also do for the past? I think Paul covered that, but do you want to expand on that at all, Paul?
Yes. Yeah, you can right on the I'll go into it again. Right here, you can just click historical and you would press filters, and then you could choose a date range over here and choose your stores, and then you can update your dashboard. And then also, if you want more granular detail than that, you can build a report over here based on historical data. Yeah, fully supported. That's no problem.
Great, thank you. And then there was a question early on about whether or not the dashboard was customizable. And so the way it works is that the dashboard is fixed, and then you can create your own reports and visual reports, things like that. They're not added to the dashboard, but they can be, you can create your own reports with those tools.
That's exactly right. Yep. The dashboard is right now what you see is what you get. And that's why we're so excited about this beta, because we'd love that feedback as, folks are talking about it and using it. We want to know, hey, this dashboard doesn't make sense, or it'd be really cool if we have this other dashboard. Can this be added? So it's certainly within the realm of possibilities. But right now it's what you see is what you get.
Great. And Anonymous asked, did he say what the backend is for this, getting all our Counterpoint data into an online vault for data stream access? And I think Paul answered that with the API, showing the API. That is the tool that's used. And another question that was asked was, can this be done on any environment? Yes, it does not have to be an RCS hosted environment. This can be, the API and data stream can be installed on any Counterpoint environment.
Yep, that's exactly right. So the install is it's not invasive. It's minimal. So really it's a Windows service that we typically install on your application server. But if you're a larger organization and you want a separate or your own API standalone server, you can do that too. It just needs to connect to the Counterpoint database. And it's kind of a one-time setup. You install the service and it actually installs a little web page with it. So you as a client can pull up that web page and see all sorts of configuration of how to set up connection strings, your different tenants, your practice company, your live company, and all that kind of stuff. Your users too. So you can manage users from there and user access.
Great. Michael asked, are the reports or dashboard printer friendly?
They should be. It's just a web browser. Full transparency, we haven't done too much testing with printing, but that's definitely a good call out. And yeah, I can make a note to see if we can run some tests on that. But they would just print like a normal web page would, or you could export the images like I described before, clicking that little hamburger button, and then print it from Paint or whatever image viewing software that you have.
Alex asked about managing user permissions.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So users can be centrally managed. So when you log in, I didn't show this too, but in addition with SSO, it also has multi-factor or two-factor authentication everywhere. So you can set that up to push to your authenticator app for a PIN number, or there's also an email option where you could get an email with that PIN number. But once you have users set up, there's kind of a user management section where you can define, I guess we call them scopes or roles, where you can define what people have, what sections of the website and the API people have access to. And you can do that like read, write, update, delete. So it's as simple as checking and unchecking some boxes to manage those permissions.
Great. Michael asked, are there any plans in the roadmap for automatic email of the reports?
Yes, that has come up. Yes.
Yes. Great. Yeah, I know. I would be excited about that one. Christopher asked, does it run reports on individual items down to the grid level, i.e. color, size, etc., or does it only narrow down to the parent style level?
It depends on the report. So right now the dashboard does not have grid level detail. It would just, as I said, kind of what you see is what you get. So I'll pull it up again. This is the dashboard. So I mean, if your atoms irons were gridded, yes, you would see that information, but you can't right now. You can't drill down into the grid details. Really this is what you see. This is the visualization that's available. But you could build your own report based on a table in the database. Or if you have a custom view in the database that has that grid level information, you could build a report off of that. But right now, there's no canned grid level kind of out of the box dashboards.
Thank you. Matthew asked, does this eliminate the issue with crystal reports lining up on an export to Excel for CSV?
Yes. Yes. This is as far away from crystal reports as you can get. Has nothing to do with crystal reports. So this is direct. When you export a table in Excel format, it exports in the newest Excel format, which is .xlsx. So it's like brand new native Excel. There's no kind of manipulation beforehand or pass through with crystal reports. It skips it entirely.
And it's not exporting it right from Counterpoint. It's exporting it from a database.
Correct.
And
Yep.
using
Yeah,
it
that's a good clarification. That ties back to what I said on the first slide, where this is totally outside of Counterpoint. It's not tied to Counterpoint licenses at all. I mean, it's a website that you can log in from anywhere to generate data. It has no dependencies on any Counterpoint files or crystal reports or anything like that. It just needs a connection to the database. It's all completely outside of Counterpoint.
And that ties in nicely with Marsha's question about is this different than what you would get with Counterpoint reports?
Yes, so that's a good question, and that has come up in demos before. So what you will not get with this is, you can't run like a sales analysis by group report or like the standard Counterpoint like inventory availability report. So this doesn't run any Counterpoint reports that you're used to. It's built from the ground up, and it's just a way to extract data. And then we've built ways where you can do like custom visuals and custom dashboard data. But like your ticket history report that you pull up probably or your drawer reading report, that you may pull up or your staff may pull up. This isn't the tool for that. You can get the similar data, by building out a report, but you won't get it in that format, and you won't get it in, a PDF and something that looks like Counterpoint.
Marsha also asked, was the average ticket sale on the dashboard? I don't think I saw it on there, but do you want to confirm?
I can't remember, amazingly, but no, but that's great feedback. So we just have units per transaction. But let me make a note of that. Average tickets. Okay.
Ariel asked, are there any visuals or metrics in DataStream that help clients track the impact of tariffs or on margins, inventory value, or cost of goods sold over time?
So that depends on your environment. So there's no on the dashboard right now. There's no stock COGS over time dashboard. But using that report builder, if you have an existing custom view or then you could set that up. But that's certainly something we can explore. But no, there's no canned report in DataStream for that at the moment.
All right. Once Christopher asked, once this is launched, will customizations be available if we want info filters added?
Yes, yeah, and that's part of what really what we're looking for forward to in the beta. So we created this in-house internally, but really we're excited to let it loose to all the Counterpoint folks out there, and so we can collect feedback and see kind of what are the common features and functions that people are asking for and folks want. And then once we compile a list of that will drive what I call our roadmap of priorities and what we want to develop. But since this was built off our API and it's kind of proprietary RCS, we're not tied down to really NCR's timeline or their development roadmap. Well, I mean, we have complete control to add, remove, or improve features and functionality.
Great. Christopher also asked follow-up. So that when we create our own report, we'll get the info we need. And I think the answer is yes to that, but I don't know if you have any more clarification, Paul.
No, I don't. Yes, yeah. I mean, as long as you know where to look, it pulls from the database in real time, and on that reports tab, you can instantly see it and download it.
Matthew asked, will the growth eventually include most reports within Counterpoint?
Likely no. Not out of the question, but our goal with this is not to recreate what Counterpoint already has. So we have other tools inside of Counterpoint, specifically our Counterpoint report emailer, or auto emailer as it's sometimes called. And really that is our solution to automating and exporting standard Counterpoint reports. The purpose of this tool was to build something outside of Counterpoint and really standalone from like the crystal reports in Counterpoint. So we don't have plans to like rebuild the by group report or transfer advice or crystal reports in general. Certainly, I mean, if there's demand, we can build similar things, but we try not to recreate Counterpoint stuff.
Mike asked, will there be the ability to link tables and custom reports?
So if you have any custom view in Counterpoint today, it will show up in that list. And I don't know if any folks on the call have the Counterpoint data exporter, which is our newish other product. I think we released it about a year and a half ago. But it's kind of really, this website is an extension of that. So any custom view that you have will be available. And then also I will say that it is on our pretty short term roadmap, like probably coming up next, to add support for custom fields for tables. So say you've modified your item table, we plan to add optional support to probably like a true false thing, like include custom fields. And if you check the box, your get calls will include all those custom fields optionally. So that's come up quite a bit, because I know folks out there have, custom item tables, sometimes custom ticket tables with custom fields. And we've known kind of since the beginning, that's a big gap in the NCR API and some other APIs, Counterpoint APIs out there. But we've thought about it. We have a plan for it, and we plan to implement it.
Right. And Matthew added a comment. He was asking about the reports in Counterpoint because Crystal Reports is horrible at exporting to Excel, which I think we can all empathize with. But yeah,
Yes.
hopefully this
Unfortunately it is. Yeah. And really this is kind of our answer to that, or to some of that. Believe me, I've been hearing that for a long time. I know it's terrible. I wish we could do better things to help solve that problem. We did add Excel support to our auto email exporter, but again, we're kind of shackled by the functionality of Counterpoint, so we never got it as good as I would like. But yeah, really, it's Crystal Reports is its own beast. So
Art asked, is the user list in this app pulled from Counterpoint? Can other users be added? And Art, I assume you mean the users that are able to access data stream. I don't know if you're talking about that or the users that can be reported on within data stream. But
no, I think I think I get that, Mason. Yeah, that's a great question. No, they're not. It is separate. So this is not tied to Counterpoint at all. So you would create user accounts for anybody who wants to use this in your organization. There's a section where you can go in and add users. And again, that's also linked to single sign-on. So if you want to, link it to your, right now it's just Microsoft. There's a certification process for Google, but Google is on the roadmap. But there's a couple of hoops we have to jump through to get that fully functional. But yeah, it's a completely separate user management.
Great. And I think we're down to the end of the questions here. If anybody has anything else, please let us know now or follow up with us after the call. Always happy to help. But For those interested, please touch base with your account manager and we'll get you on the schedule to get this installed and test it out.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the time, everybody. I'm sure this will be recorded, so feel free to go back and look at the recording. But as Mason touched on too, if you have any questions, not only to the account manager, but any technical questions of how it works, or you want more detail, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer those. We're really excited about this product. It's kind of new territory for us, and I think it really, I think it's going to be a really help to a lot of folks out there.
And
All
one
right,
final
awesome.
question.
Sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Is the API just an app running on the server?
Yes, yeah, it's what's called a Windows service. So there's an installer. We would connect up to your application server if you're not in our Arrow environment. We run an installer, and it's a Windows service that runs in the background. It has a accompanying website, so you don't have to mess with the service itself and like a command prompt or anything like that. If you need to manage and anything to do with the API install, you just open up a Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or something. Go to your local hosts on the port, and you can log in and manage your users and your tenants, which would be your companies.
Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Paul and Mason. And thank you all for participating in today's webinar. We had some really fantastic questions, great engagement. As you can tell, we're all really excited about this product. So thanks for that. And you will be receiving a recording of the webinar shortly directly to your inbox. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.